When the Minnesota Vikings announced their 2025 cheerleading lineup, fans expected sparkle, high kicks, and maybe a new uniform design. What they didn't expect was two names that would set social media ablaze: Blaize Shiek and Louie Conn. These weren't just new additions. They were male cheerleaders stepping onto the NFL stage in purple and gold, turning the sidelines into a cultural lightning rod. Almost instantly, the story leapt out of Minneapolis and straight into the gossip bloodstream, drawing reactions from die-hard fans, former players, and even people who don't usually care about football but never miss a good controversy. The reveal came with an Instagram post from the Vikings. Sharp video editing, slow-motion pom-poms, crisp uniforms, and that all-caps caption announcing the next generation of cheer. Within minutes, the comments lit up. Some applauded the move, praising the Vikings for representation and inclusivity. Others were less kind, blasting the organization with claims that the NFL was going too woke and swearing they'd never watch another game. One commenter raged, "I'm not a Viking fan no more," while another added, "I just lost all of my respect for the Vikings." But if those critics thought their outrage would silence the buzz, they were wrong. Because where there's controversy, there's momentum, and Shiek Conn knew exactly how to ride the wave. Blaize Shiek, from Fargo, North Dakota, already had the poise of someone used to being the only boy in the room. He danced competitively through high school and college, often standing out as the lone male performer among a sea of female teammates. Louie Conn cut his teeth at Iowa State, where his smooth moves made him a standout on the Cyclone dance line. Both men had faced skepticism before, so stepping onto the NFL's most visible cheer stage wasn't just about high kicks and synchronized routines. It was about owning space that history had already carved, but culture had temporarily erased. Because let's not forget, male cheerleading isn't new. In fact, it was the origin story. Back in 1898 at the University of Minnesota, yes, Minnesota, Johnny Campbell stood before a crowd, shouted "rah, rah, rah," and became the world's first cheerleader. For decades, cheer squads were all male, focused on stunts and athleticism. It wasn't until the 1920s and beyond that women began taking over the role, especially during World War II when men left for the battlefield. By the 1960s and 70s, pom-poms, short skirts, and feminine glam dominated the profession, and the public imagination froze cheerleading as a female-only domain. The irony? When critics today claim that male cheerleaders are some shocking new invention, they're actually dismissing the sport's roots. Shiek Conn weren't breaking history, they were reviving it. Still, none of that stopped the backlash. Social media was loud, with conservative commentators accusing the Vikings of pandering and ruining football. On X, formerly Twitter, retired NFL player Antonio Brown took the low road, mocking Louie Conn with a homophobic slur that drew its own round of condemnation. Instead of dragging the men down, Brown's attack gave the story more oxygen, sparking debates on sports talk shows, gossip podcasts, and every corner of the internet where football and culture collide. Fans split into camps. Those furious about men in what they still saw as a female role, those excited to see boundaries breaking, and those just there for the drama. And drama was exactly what Shiek Conn delivered. Days after the uproar, Blaize Shiek dropped a perfectly timed Instagram post. A crisp photo of him and Conn in uniform, pom-poms midair, captioned with a sly, "Wait, did someone say our name?" It was cheeky, confident, and impossible to ignore. Suddenly, they weren't just cheerleaders. They were personalities. The haters had thrown shade, and Shiek Conn spun it into spotlight, showing they weren't just surviving controversy, they were thriving in it. The Vikings organization doubled down, releasing statements that were equal parts professional and unapologetic. They reminded critics that men had been part of the NFL cheer world for years, that 1/3 of NFL teams already had male cheerleaders, and that these athletes earned their spots through rigorous auditions, not tokenism. Behind the polished press release tone, the subtext was clear. If you don't like it, that's your problem. Reports even noted that despite the uproar, no one had actually canceled season tickets. For all the noise, the outrage wasn't hitting the Vikings where it hurt, the wallet. Meanwhile, allies stepped forward. Torrey Smith, a two-time Super Bowl champion, recalled a memory from his youth football program in Baltimore. When cheerleading was introduced, a boy wanted to join. Parents questioned it. Smith's answer was simple. If he wants to cheer, let him cheer. With that, Smith framed the debate as something bigger than pom-poms. It was about kids, choice, and who gets permission to express themselves. His support carried weight, and gossip outlets highlighted his statement as a counterbalance to Brown's insult. Where one former player clung to slurs, another embraced progress, and audiences could choose which narrative felt more relevant in 2025. The media circus churned. Entertainment sites posted side-by-side photos of Shiek and Conn next to historic snapshots of male cheerleaders from decades past. Talk radio hosts debated whether the NFL was changing too fast. On Reddit, users pointed out the obvious. Male cheerleaders have been around in both college and pro sports for decades. The outrage was overblown, and the controversy was more about politics than pom-poms. One blunt comment read, "This is manufactured outrage because their opinions on things that actually matter would never get traction." The thread went viral, adding another layer to the drama. Not just whether male cheerleaders belonged, but whether the backlash itself was real or just performative noise. Then came the debut performance. The Vikings hit the field, and there were Blaize and Louie, uniforms sharp, choreography on point, grins locked in place. Cameras zoomed, fans cheered, yes, cheered. Clips spread across TikTok, with supporters noting how seamlessly the men fit into the squad. In that moment, the energy shifted. No longer were Shiek and Conn framed as a sideshow. They were part of the entertainment, exactly where they belonged. Headlines followed. Vikings male cheerleaders silence doubters. Shiek and Conn shine in NFL debut. Haters left speechless after first routine. And just like that, the narrative bent again, from controversy to triumph. For Shiek and Conn personally, the spotlight turned into a platform. Interviews revealed how much it meant to them to perform at this level, to inspire younger boys who wanted to dance but feared ridicule, to break down stereotypes that boxed in both men and women. They spoke about the hours of training, the athleticism cheer requires, and the pride of representing Minnesota on a stage as big as the NFL. Their words added heart to the headlines, transforming them from gossip subjects into role models. But in gossip culture, the story isn't just what happened. It's how it resonates. This saga tapped into broader pop culture patterns. Think back to 2018, when the Los Angeles Rams and New Orleans Saints introduced male dancers to their squads for the first time. Social media erupted then too, only for the outrage to fade once the season rolled on. Or recall when Justine Lindsay became the first openly transgender NFL cheerleader in 2022 for the Carolina Panthers Top Cats, another milestone that initially drew hate but ultimately cemented itself as progress. Each of these moments carried the same DNA: backlash, headlines, resilience, acceptance. The Vikings were just the latest team to ride the cycle. Of course, gossip thrives on conflict, and the critics aren't going anywhere. Some Vikings fans insist they'll never return, even if they never actually held season tickets to begin with. Conservative pundits still frame the story as another example of traditional values under attack. But for every angry Facebook post, there's a TikTok clip of Shiek nailing a stunt or Conn's dance moves syncing perfectly with the music, racking up likes and shares from younger, more diverse fans. In terms of audience retention, the men aren't just winning, they're stealing the show. What makes this story particularly juicy is the irony. Male cheerleaders aren't new, they're original. The outrage isn't rooted in reality, it's rooted in image. The Vikings move didn't dismantle tradition, it reconnected with it. Yet in 2025, a time when culture wars turn even sideline performers into battlegrounds, the smallest step toward inclusivity becomes a headline magnet. For gossip consumers, it's the perfect storm. Sports, controversy, celebrity reactions, social media clapbacks, and a pair of new personalities ready to embrace the spotlight. And here's the kicker. Blaize Shiek and Louie Conn aren't going anywhere. They're set for an entire season of routines, primetime cameras, and viral clips. Every game is another chance to dazzle supporters, to win over skeptics, and yes, to frustrate critics. The longer they last, the more normalized their presence becomes. Until one day it won't be male cheerleaders making history, but just cheerleaders. That's the real cultural shift, and it's unfolding week by week in Minnesota. So what started as a routine roster announcement spiraled into a full-blown gossip saga, an explosion of backlash, defense, celebrity commentary, historical irony, and triumphant performances. The Vikings' male cheerleaders became more than a novelty. They became cultural symbols. And in the process, They gave us everything a gossip journalist could ask for: drama, conflict, resilience, and a headline that just won't quit. Whether fans tune in to cheer or jeer, one thing's for sure: Blaize Shiek and Louie Conn have already stolen the season, and the story of their debut will keep people talking long after the pom-poms stop shaking. And there you have it. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you made it this far, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next deep dive.